The One Piece anime just came back and there's already a whole bunch of drama, unfortunately, circling Sanji, and it's got a few of the animators involved as well for the One Piece anime, including director Megumi Shitani, and even Henry Thurlow, former Toei animator, came in there as well to say a few things. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? I watched the episode first on my Patreon, obviously first there. Shameless plug-in, absolutely. But I saw the episode and I was like, I'm not seeing anything that's off at all. But then I can see in my chat, folks are yapping about it. Like, wait, what am I missing right now? Why are folks complaining? What is going on? Apparently, there's been, for the past weekend, it has been a storm where quote unquote Sanji fans, honestly, I'm thinking about calling these cats ops. Like, I'm keeping a stack, bro. I'm keeping a big, heavy stack, because I don't know how you can be so fervent with Toei Animation's decision or lack thereof to tweak or do certain things with the character Sanji that you may or may not like. Even still, nah.
But wait.
This is all on Twitter. So, bruh, obviously King. Really? I'm about to do a video on this Twitter. The core reason why is because I'm seeing animators and even directors get involved in this conversation about Toei's mistreatment of Sanji relative compared to, of course, Zoro, where that's always the debate here. But in this situation, it feels like it's more exacerbated because the anime was on hiatus for quite a bit of time, and expectations are high now that we have One Piece in a new time slot. So far, so good. I think it's been great. If you're a hyper Sanji stan, I'm a Sanji stan, but some of these cats got me like, bro, they would hop on Sanji's meat in a second. Give me 10.
Bro, I'm just playing, dog.
Ayos aside, all ditties aside, the one thing I'm seeing the most crop up from this whole Sanji situation with Toei Animation, alleged, of course, alleged, is this collage right here. Boom. Where you have a series of events where Sanji is not seen in the best light, or he's omitted from certain moments, certain frames that were there in the manga but weren't there in the anime, or things were tweaked. So for example, we do see the scene of York on the ground as the stripes are looming over her very threateningly, and then in the background, the manga, you have Sanji there kind of carrying a big burger, but then in the Toei shot of that, you don't see Sanji there. Or obviously the scene where like Sanji is hardcore simping for Stussy, where in the manga there is no bark bark woof woof, but in the anime Sanji goes full lycanthrope, straight doggo mode, and goes hur, 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 like it's Denji and Makima activity. Then you have the scene where Sanji saves Edison in the manga, then he lands right next to Zoro and the beam never hit Edison. But then in the anime version, this one I do remember though, episode 1105, where instead the beam hits and then Frankie's able to save Lilith, and then Sanji's still in the smoke somehow, even though the beam hit, and then just has S in his hands. And he lands next to Frankie, or in front of Frankie, near Lilith, not next to Zoro. But then later on in that scene, we do see Zoro and Sanji bickering as per usual. That one I think was a weird scene though, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know why they changed it to where it was a different moment, because it's kind of viewed differently in the manga versus the anime, where in the anime, it's more like he was already there in the smoke and the laser didn't hit Edison, like let's say they barely dodged it, but in the manga, it's like he was already long gone by then. That being said, it's a series of things that have been issues with Sanji that have led up to this moment where we actually get, I think, really good information about what happened during that 24-hour span where the Strauss were fighting against all the Seraphim and how they had all the Seraphim in a bubble. In the manga, that just skipped entirely. But in the anime, they fill that in. So I would say, compared to the manga, in many respects, if not most respects, the anime right now for Egghead Island is better than the manga. Because in the manga, to this day, that does piss me off. Undeniably. I don't care what nobody says. I don't give a damn. It was dumb in the manga. In the anime, they actually tell you how Robin got injured, where Robin was the one that actually saved Vegapunk after York was doing her squad activity and then ran to the Seraphims at some point. But then in comes Kaku fighting against both S-Hawk and S-Bear, and then Kaku gets saved by Zoro. And just like in the manga, Luffy convinces S-Snake to help free Frankie and Lilith and company, but people also have a problem with that, but we won't touch that now. Obviously, this is all extremely ridiculous. It is biologically ingrained in her to like Luffy. And then the main controversy, like everyone going, including the animators and director and so on, Sanji gets saved by Nami with the bubble gun, and then we go from there. Now, on the first tweets that Megumi Ishitani herself responded to, mind you, Megumi Ishitani has no involvement at all with the episode's creation, animation, directing, and so on, and instead was doing work for, as far as I understand, Witch Watch, because I saw the opening of Witch Watch, and that was her, and I believe Keisuke Mori's work too. So, very good opening for Witch Watch. But you can see right here, Sanji fan 66. I'm extremely disappointed with the bias portrayed of Sanji by the staff. Treating Sanji poorly in favor of Zoro is unacceptable. All characters should be treated equally and portrayed according to the original work. Eliminate bias and follow the original work. And then it seemed like, on a follow-up tweet, Sanji fan 66 was continuously yapping and maybe retweeting a lot of Megumi stuff to the point where she responded and said, "How many tweets in a row are you posting? Please do not do this kind of unreasonable behavior to the other staff members." And then you see the same collage that I showed you with added stuff to it. And then you have this. Please don't say this to me who's not involved. And of course to other staff members too. Please refrain from taking out your dissatisfaction with the whole project on individuals in the future. Then right here, another snapshot. And to be fair, the whole context isn't there. I'm not gonna go through the whole context because there's so many different tweets here. Right here, you are working to show the episode to fans around the world, and they have the right to express their opinion about the product shown. This is not an attack out of nothing. The viewer has the right to express his opinion about anything, and this is not a difficult thing. Contrary. And then she responds, "Your argument is just your subjective opinion." True. You always make assumptions. I don't have that authority. And have you ever thought that my arrogant opinions of my seniors and juniors might damage the relationship between us staff? We work with mutual respect. You have no right to destroy that. Please stop. To be fair, okay, people are allowed to express their frustrations about the story online if they so choose to. Correct. And because she's famous, it is what it is. She does fantastic work, and because she's famous, she will get a lot of responses, a lot of spotlight. And because of that, people are gonna try and get her attention, and it seemed like it worked pretty well. So I'm honestly surprised that she responded in the first place. I really, really, really am. On X, blocking is an easy thing to do. It takes 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then that person that keeps on spamming you are completely out of your life. She is responding to what I think are, in some respects, probably trolls. Again, ops. Because I have a hard time really believing, considering all the greatness that Sanji's been getting for so damn long, that because he is not shown in a background with the other Straw Hats and instead gets a follow-up scene by himself near a mountain of food talking about what happened. Well, that's not enough. No. He has to be in that particular shot with the straw. I mean, like, when Sanji is running around giving folks food, the director and staff probably said, nah, not really. And then people go nuts. They take that, and it's like, Toei's got to burn. A lot of this smells like op activity. It does. I ain't gonna lie to you. And of course, from here, out come the bums and the psychopaths and the losers that start doing the harassment and the death threats. The people that need to absolutely check themselves into A, a hospital, or B, solitary confinement in a maximum security facility. If level 6 impel down was real, they gotta go there. Megumi did engage in combat online, Twitter of all places, to the point where other people, other animators, other folks are getting involved. Like, for example, you have Henry Thurl over here, former animator of Toei, says this: "Can't believe I even have to say this, but there's not a single anime production where the staff hates a certain character and sabotages their scenes. Certain animators might request specific scenes and not others, but the directors try their hardest to make the whole thing good." And in all the things that I got, because I got a mountain of things, much love for Swag and forgive me all these things I had to roll through, Austin will show some of these crazy comments over here. And obviously he will make sure that nothing inappropriate is being shown on screen. Austin, yay, 2 thumbs up. Great. There's just so much. You can pause, read it for yourself. There was one thing that also kind of stemmed from this too, where there was an interview about a magazine promo for Zoro and Sanji, and then Midori Matsuda, one of the character designers, during this Sanji and Zoro promo interview, some kind, they were talking predominantly about Zoro. She's a Zoro stan, which is fine. Everyone has their own preference about who was their favorite character in the story of One Piece. But then you have Cisco over here say, the way Matsuda read didn't say a single word about Sanji when this magazine is about Zoro and Sanji. Even Japanese fans were bothered by this. Stop blaming Toei. We got a name now. This I find to be sus, like putting gasoline on Ifrit flames. This could have been bait. Ultimately speaking, the person is a Zoro stan, and that's known. I know Matsuda-san likes Zoro. I also know he likes Zoro so much that he joined Toei and worked his way up, becoming animated director. But isn't it a bit harsh? The character designer only said one line for Sanji because he doesn't have any feelings for him, even though he talks a lot about Zoro. To me, on the flip side, I can look at, let's say, someone like Tu Young-se, where Tu Young-se, as far as I remember, Tu Young-se has done some great scenes. He's done stuff for the Shanks versus Kid fight, Sanji versus Queen fight. He even did the finale of the, in Film Red, the Luffy and Shanks doing the tag team move on Top Musica. The very first Gear 5 animated scene, Tu Young-se said before, at least I believe it was him, that he's not necessarily a big fan of doing a lot of the Zoro scene. He believes that his style is better suited for the characters and not Zoro. And then I remember seeing a lot of cats online were mad about that. The feud that is Zoro and Sanji is such a meaningful and toxic rivalry and feud that even stems over to online discourse like this. It's not in the same vein as like Goku and Vegeta. No, this is serious. This is serious. I think a lot of times it's fun, it's healthy for the story because you do want to have that sort of interest where even though it's toxic, it's also maintaining interest in the story. And whether or not Toei Animation is actually playing favorites, I would like to believe that the professionalism is there, as Henry Thurlow mentioned in his tweet, where there is no active sabotage of certain characters in certain scenes by animators or by directors or by character designers, because most of us do like the vast majority of the Strat crew. We do stand certain characters, like I do stand Sanji, I do stand Robin, I do stand Usopp. Other folks will stand Nami and Zoro. There are the Chopper stands, they exist too, right? But all in all, we do like the crew as a whole. But it would also be foolish to say that some characters don't get a little more glaze at times of the characters. And there would be no manga/canon reason for it. It's just extra glaze. Whether it's a business move, whether it's a personal thing, and the animators really want to give this certain character a lot of glaze, a lot of sauce. For example, Vincent Chansard is a big Kaido fan, so whenever he had a chance to glaze up Kaido, he absolutely did. Things of that sort will exist. I don't think that the sabotaging is genuinely there. No. Keep in mind that it was the Zoro fans that were going nuts for months on end online during the Onigashima raid, up until episode 1062, Zoro piece, to where they were going around threatening people, animators, directors, and so on and so forth. It was a whole kerfuffle because they felt like Zoro wasn't getting nowhere near the same quality of animation on a regular basis for Zoro vs. King compared to Sanji vs. Queen. But then again, you have things like Post over here. Apparently adding a scene with the hard eyes was essential, but faithfully adapting a scene with all the strats was too much work. I hope they get the Kyoto Animation treatment. That's insane. If I was one of that dude's homeboys, I would definitely do a wellness check because Bud is on the precipice of going from being a student at a school to lighting that school up. To me, it's either A, you're young, stupid as hell. B, you genuinely have a brain disability of some kind, and that should be treated. See, ops, just straight up ops. Trolls just fanning the flames of war online because they want that juicy, succulent, delectable Twitter ad money, baby. Yeah. Those checks from the real president of America, Elon Musk, they go a long way, and they want as much of the cut as possible. And then number 4, most likely, is that folks are just misguided. And in this case here, they definitely are. When we find out these new details about what happened during that 24-hour time window that Oda skipped in the manga, what a lot of folks seem to be assuming is that Zoro defeated the Seraphim by himself. He defeated S-Hawk and S-Bear without any assistance at all to save Kaku, and Sanji needed to be saved from S-Shark's onslaught by Nami. But somehow, everyone that is stoking these flames of war about Sanji online on Twitter, whether it be stans or super meat rider stans, whoever is complaining about it seem to forget the line where it's mentioned that Nami is the one that subdued all of the Seraphim. That includes S-Bear and S-Hawk.
元に戻ったリリスがバブルガンを貸してくれたから So
after they got freed from S-Snake because Luffy was able to convince her to unpetrify Frankie and company, Lilith gives Nami the bubble gun, and then Nami is the one that runs around, and she, not Zoro, she is the one that puts an end to the Seraphim shenanigan. It is simply a matter, as they say, of reading comprehension. It winds up being a pretty good Nami gas moment, and we can give our flowers to all the Straw Hats for fighting off against the Seraphim. Sanji was putting his literal body, we see with S-Bear, takes a punch full on, and if you were to carry that over, he was taking deliberate shots from the Seraphim, from S-Shark, to protect Brook and company while Nami did what she was doing. And then we can give Zoro's flowers too, because Zoro did save Kaku from the onslaught of S-Shark and S-Bear, and did what he did up until Nami came in there, bubble gun, sealed. So is it perfect to fill in the gaps all left behind? No, but it's absolutely better than nothing, and it's still some good content. So there's a lot of comments about this for sure. Part of me feels like Skippy right now on Twitter, another content creator on YouTube that does a lot of One Piece anime content, where he says, and I quote, "One Piece is back for a day, and I'm already seeing nothing but nonsense that Toei hates Sanji. Post and post about them promising new sound effects." They never did. Welcome back, I guess. You have Pew talking about it, of course. You have Gio talking about it. And truth be told, whether or not they are ops or not, the fact of the matter is that, yeah, it is a lot of Sanji fan tomfoolery. And if I'm being honest, even though there are some weird changes I think that Toei Animation have made for Sanji in this arc so far, other changes I did enjoy. I do enjoy the moment when Sanji does unleash his inner hound.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight.
And starts simping extra hard for Stussy. Sanji hits those comedic notes very well, though that depends obviously on your preference for comedy. It's... Is it all stupid? Yeah. It kind of is. Again, this didn't even register in my mind when I was watching the episode up until folks kept on talking about it in the damn chat. I was like, wait, what is going on, bro? This has no value. This has no substance. Zero. That's what I have to believe up until I saw that Megumi was involved. I'm like, dude, okay. So we'll see how this plays on in the future, if it has any impact. Will it? No, it shouldn't. I do believe in the professionalism of the animators and directors to maintain frame, and in the future, Sanji and Zoro and every Straw Hat, when they get their epic moments, they will be unbelievably epic. And of course, the crew members, when they can, will be getting an extra amount of glaze on the side as well. That's not stopped. And their times to shine will be some of the greatest content in anime history. But if you didn't know what was going on, now you know. So let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy your boys' video content, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.